Hello everyone, this is David Jeffrey again from my art channel, and I was written to on the channel on one of my other videos from one of my followers called Lily 2019, and as well as asking a number of questions, she asked whether I could do a particular video on the comparison of watercolor paper. So I picked a bunch of watercolor papers that I had in my collection, and I'm doing this very simple video comparing like for like with different mediums and finding out which paper works the best for all types of medium. So when it comes to watercolors. So I've got with me the Rowney Aquafine watercolor paper. I've also got the Paint on Multi-Techniques paper, and then I've got a selection we have in the UK called Boldmere, which is sold. It's one of these cheaper papers that are sold in IT Works, which is a cheap art supply kind of shop in the UK. I've also got to test this, the Rowney Aquafine watercolor paint set. I've got the Caran Neocolor wax crayons. I've got a children's paint set, and also a bunch of watercolors pencils by Boldmere to see which ones work the best, which medium. So pressing straight on, I'm going to start with the Rowney Aquafine textured watercolor paper. It is 300 GM squared, cold pressed, and it claims that it's going to work with all types of watercolor. So let's just spread it out and see what we have here. Okay, I'm going to start with the Caran because that's the most expensive ones that we got, so they're officially the better quality, one would think. And what I will do is I will pick a color that works for everything. I pick the same color for every medium, and then we can see straight away what works best. I'll try some blending. So let's go with a yellow and a blue, because that would work with both, and we can create a green and see how it works. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to create a square out of the color. Okay, and then I'm going to watercolor it in a moment. So here we go, and then we'll take the yellow and blend it with the blue and see what kind of green we'll come up with when it's finally done. Okay, so here we go. Oh, let's take one of my brushes and make it good. Here we go. Right, so you see there the watercolor mixing with the wax and blending across into green, and then I could have done this better. There's a better way of doing this. That was my own stupidity. There we go. That green is off that brush now. There we go. So we can see it. Okay, so that's the blend across. Okay, so it's smooth. It's not that bad. It seems to look quite nice on this paper. Can't get that color off the brush. I'll work on that in a minute. Right, so this is the Aquafine. So I'm going to just label this. So let's call this sorry, not Aquafine. This is the Caran. And then I'm going to do the Aquafine after this. Here we go. I'm going to do exactly the same again. This one comes with its own brush, but I'm going to use my brushes for this. So we have the equivalent of the blue. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And then we have, I should use that yellow to be fair. Okay. This is just a test of how it sits on the paper anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's not exactly the same color, and how well it blends across on the page. That's a good test really of the colors generally. This one's not blending at all. It's quite interesting. I get some more blue, see if I can actually get this to blend. There you go. We have a little bit of blend. There we go. Much darker green out of that one. There we go. Right, so leave that to one side, I think. Right, so that one is the Rowney, and we'll wait for them to dry so we can really see what they look like when they're done. Okay. Now I'm going to do the Boldmere watercolor set. I think that's the next best one I have here. Choose some of the colors. Okay. I should have brought my sharpener. Get a sharpener in a second. Okay. In a minute, I'm going to run off and get a sharpener. So. And there we have the watercolor pencils and how they sit on this page. At the moment, the best one has been the Caran dash for sitting off nicely of this. I'm just going to run off and get a sharpener. I'll be back in a second. Well, you can think about that one. Okay, great, excellent. So that's the Boldmere watercolor pencils done, and I'm just going to label that. Boldmere. And now we'll have the very cheap paint set and see how that pans out. Okay. It's going to need a lot of water because it's the cheap set. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them below in the comment section. I'm more than welcome to answer any thoughts, any feelings anyone has while I'm doing this. I don't have any problems with that, so please feel free to write your feelings down. Okay, there's the blending. This set actually blends really well. Quite surprising. Much better than the Rowney. There we go. Anyway, so that's the first one. So for people watching, this is Rowney Aquafine texture watercolor paper, and now I'm going to do exactly the same test on the Caran dash. Okay, sorry, on the paint on Multi-Techniques, but with the Caran dash. So here we go.
You should check your comments.
Okay, so this is Neocolor, so Caran dash. So Sukio's Art Channel's writing to me. I'm going to let you know which one works best on which paper as I go through them one by one. I'm doing that right now. I will do a list of best to worst, and I'm only using the same color to save time. I don't want to spend hours going through this. It's a very simple, quick review for someone. I just want them to understand what it looks like on the page at the completion for each one. So you'll see that at the end. So yeah, hopefully we'll get a good result. So I'm doing the Daler Rowney Aquafine colors now. I do actually like the vibrancy of these colors in this set, and it definitely mixes well. It mixes the same in every time. I say that on this paper it looks slightly lighter, but we will see that when I finish. So Daler Rowney. And now I'm going to do the Boldmere color set. Here they are. Whoop. Put it on the floor. Not good for pencils. Okay. Oh no, that's still got colour on it. Apologies for this bit here. Got it cleaned up there. Can't seem to get the green off. There you go. There you go. Got it good. Okay, so that one is the Boldmere. And then, yeah, something I'm going to learn about this. I hate using these squirty paint thing. These things. They are so annoying, in my opinion. It's like the third video I've done using these, and I'm going to go back to regular paintbrushes after this. They're like the shortcut way of doing things. for an artist, but realistically you spend more time wasted trying to get the color out of it and using up all your water in doing so. And then the color of the pigment actually goes up inside the paintbrush itself, so it makes it really complicated. Anyway, there you go. So that's the children's paint set. Children's. Okay, I'll put that up there because the other one's now dry. And finally, cheapo set, Boldmere. Let's see how that handles the colors. The first thing I see straight away on this is, even though the Aquafine is textured, and I know that the paint on isn't textured, this is textured, the gaps between the colouring, is in like the gaps where it's not filling in, are large, where like you can see it straight when I do this, you can see all the gaps there. Obviously when I paint, hopefully that's going to fix that, but we shall see. So this is coming across okay. Yeah, and you can see even after drying, I think there's still gaps there. That's quite annoying. But then it is a cheap set, so got to expect it not to be amazing because it's cheap. So that's Caran dash, and then let's go straight into the Aquafine ones. Yeah. There we go. Get some more onto there, so the merge. So the blending is good on this. That is good. That's one thing worth saying. Now we're going to go into the Boldmere. Let's just write this down. Rowney. The Rowney worked better than the Caran dash on this particular paper for some reason. Here comes the watercolor pencils. And I'm just doing this so that you get a chance to see how the medium works with different types of things. So we got the wax crayons, and then I've got a student grade paint set, and then we got pencils here, and then I've got a children's paint set, and it's good to see how the color, how it reacts to the paper, you know. And how well it blends, if at all. Okay, that again worked really well with the Boldmere. But then again, this is Boldmere paper, so one would hope that the mediums would work with each other. And like I said, this is for Lily 2019, who is one of my followers. She actually lives in America, and she said that she has difficulty getting watercolor paper that she can test before she buys. So the whole idea of this was to give her an opportunity to see how the paper would work out, so she could then just go and buy the one which kind of worked best on my video, really. That was the theory behind this exercise. So hopefully she'll be happy with how I've done this. So yeah, so that's the final one. This is children's. So now I'm going to lay them back on back from each other. Okay, so let me write what these are. So Boldmere, Boldmere. I have just noticed that my video is in reverse for those of you watching, which would be a bit of a pain because you can't read, unless you can read reverse, you can't read what the names of any of these are, but I will try my best to describe anyhow for you. This was paint on, and this one is Rowney. Okay. So from my visual thoughts on this, if you're using the Rowney Aquafine watercolor texture paper, the best medium in this selection was the Caran wax crayons. That was the #1 for sure. I would say that #2 in this, the way this is like settled on the page, is actually the children's crayons. #3 is the Rowney, and #4 is the Boldmere on this particular set. I'm doing this first, and then I'm going to tell you which paper I think is best. So in the paint on, this is smooth, this is not textured, it's the only non-textured one I've got here. Just by visually, I'd say the best one is the Caran, and then second would be Boldmere, and then third Rowney, and the fourth the children's pencils. And then in the final one, which is the Boldmere paper, which, like I said, you buy in the store in England. I don't know if you can order this online, but you can have a look. It's from a shop called IT Works. The best one is actually Boldmere. Second was Caran, third Rowney, and the fourth was the children's pencils. So Boldmere has their best, it works best with their medium. Now, when it comes to paper itself, I have to say that it really is clearly down to price, because I would say the Boldmere is the worst out of all of them. It really doesn't hold it very well. You can still see the dots where there's gaps in the when the paint hasn't quite gone through and it's been thicker at the top and thinner inside. It's not dried at all. It's still running down the page, which all the others are completely dry, and I can still pick this off. It's still paint. You know, it's very strange that that's not actually soaking into the page like watercolor does. So Boldmere is at the bottom for that. So it's really between paint on and Rowney, and I have to go with Rowney on this particular occasion, because when you can see on the screen very easily that this blending, especially with these wax crayons, is amazing. You've got the separation of the blue, the green, and the yellow. It's very clear, even all the way down. Even in Boldmere, which isn't a very good one, essentially it's #4 on my list, it's still the blending is good. Whereas over here, the blending is a little bit like touch and go. It comes out like a gray color. It's not really green. I don't know why that is. But anyway, you can see this is much smoother than this one. So for Lily 2019, who's asked me to review these 3 types of paper, I'm going to tell you that I believe, in my opinion, that you should go with the Rowney Aquafine texture watercolor paper based on what I have actually come up with on this. Okay, so I haven't tested all papers, and there are other papers out there. Now, if you have a particular paper that you want me to check, and you want me to, sorry, when I said IT Works, did I say IT Works? I meant The Works. Yes, thank you, Sukio's art channel. I don't know, I've got another company in mind. So The Works does the Boldmere set. Okay, the works, not IT works. And it's not reversed on your screen, so that's great. Wonderful. It's just on my screen. That's great. So Dale Rowney Aquafine texture watercolor paper. So in my opinion, out of the selection I create, is the best. However, if you out there want me to give you a review on a particular water paper which I haven't reviewed today, please send me a message specifically on this video. Would be great, asking me which watercolor paper you want me to review, and I will do an in-depth review with watercolor charts and all sorts of stuff based on that. I will be doing a review in another video of the Dale Rowney in more detail, but right now, okay, right now I'm concentrating on this. Now I've just been asked what about my Faber-Castell pad, which I have got here. The reason why I didn't do this was because it's a sketch pad primarily. It's not specifically designed for watercolors, although it's ideal for watercolor pencils. I've got other mediums of watercolor, and I wasn't sure if I should include it. However, you've retracted with the comment you just made. So in reality, I will do another review based totally on Faber-Castell in a future video. But if you want me to do that, please let me know in the comments. And I hope this has been helpful to you. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe, please like the video, and send it to your friends if you think it's something that would really interest them. Otherwise, please leave comments and tell me what you'd like me to include in future videos. I do my best to answer every good quality comment that comes on my channel. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you at the next live stream.